Gadal Yam Bataya. Today we're going to start off with BaraShath chapter 2. And we're just going to dive right into it today. Thus the Shamayam and the Arats were completed in all their array. And on the seventh Yam, Allahaya halted his work, which he had done. And he rested on the seventh Yam from all his work which he had made. And Allahaya blessed the seventh Yam and set it apart, Quadayasha, because on it he rested from all his work which Allahaya in creating had made. These are the births of the Shamayam and the Arats when they were created. In the Yam that Yahaya Allahaya made Arats and Shamayam. Now no shrub of the field was yet on the Arats, and no plant of the field had yet sprung up, for Yahaya Allahaya had not sent rain on the Arats, and there was no man to till the ground, but a mist went up from the Arats and watered the entire surface of the ground. And Yahaya Allahaya formed the man out of the dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils breath of life. And the man became a living being. And Yahya Allahaya planted a garden in Eden to the east, and there he put the Adam, whom he had formed. And out of the ground Yahya Allahaya made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, with the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And a river went out of Eden to the water of the garden, and from there it divided and became 4 riverheads. The name of the first is Pishon. It is the one surrounding the entire land of Kolaya, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. Aromatic resin is there in Shoham, onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. It is the one surrounding the entire land of Cush. And the name of the third river is Karakel. It is the one which goes toward the east of Asher, Arshar. And the fourth river is that of Farat. And Yahya Allahaya took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to work it and to guard it. And Yahya Allahaya commanded the man, saying, Eat of every tree of the garden, but do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for in the yam that you eat of it, you shall certainly die. And Yahya Allahaya said, It is not good for the man to be alone. I am going to make a helper for him as his counterpart. And from the ground Yahya Allahaya formed every beast of the field and every bird of the Shamayam, and brought them to the man to see what he could call them. And whatever the man called each living creature, that was his name. So the man gave names to all livestock, and to the birds of the Shamayam, and to every beast of the field. But for the man there was not a helper for him as his counterpart. So Yahya Allahaya caused a deep sleep to fall on the man, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. And the rib which Yahya Allahaya had taken from the man he made into an asha, and brought her to the man. And the man said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This one is called Asha, because she was taken out of ash. For this cause a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his Asha, and they shall become one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his Asha, yet they were not ashamed. And as you can see there, that is the second chapter of BaraShath, according to the BYNV. Now, I'm going to go over some key points like the last video and break down some things so people are less confused about what I just read. So clearly in the second verse, we have a summary of what went down in the first verse. And in the second verse, it gives a more in-depth detail of how the Most High created Adam and for what reason, why he created woman. And as I said in the last video, Adam and man are the same thing. Adam is just the first man, the one in which seeded humanity. Through his seed came humanity, humans, or man and woman. Then we talk about the four rivers, and the four rivers are a key point into understanding where the actual garden is. I need you to understand that there is no landmass on our maps today, on the current maps today, that actually show you where the Garden of Eden is. You have to comprehend this. If you cannot comprehend this, you will always think that the Garden of Eden is on one of the current land masses that you see today on modern maps, right? There's literally four rivers surrounding, right? Surrounding the Garden of Eden, bro. So if there isn't a landmass that is literally surrounded by four rivers, that is not the Garden of Eden, right? And then also it tells you the directions. So this is key into understanding that the Garden of Eden is, you could say, is hidden on most current maps, right? Because where are these four rivers? And then they'll try to convince you too that, oh, these four rivers are maybe in Africa or maybe in South America or maybe in America. But when you look at it, it's only one major river. So again, it's showing you the truth that, these are just the rivers after they come from the mouth of the river, if that makes sense to you. Another key point I wanted to talk about was the nakedness. See, in most Bible translations, they tell you that they were naked and they were just walking around, in their birthday suits. But there are earlier translations that explain that when souls are created, or, spirits, they are not per se naked, but, in purity, souls are created, born, or, manifested, I'll use that word, with robes of white, right, to show their purity. And then they shine like stars, basically, you know what I'm saying, because they're so pure in their purity, right? But then you also have to understand that there's purity born into the flesh. Purity born into the flesh is nakedness, right? So being born into the flesh world of this, right? They are born naked. No. Are they actually naked being born into the Garden of Eden? According to this, yes. And we're going to just stick with this. But many interpret this as a parable, meaning they were naked, as in saying that mentally and spiritually they were naked, meaning they were newborns, they were fresh, right? And it was after they sinned or fell out of the garden or kicked out or whatever, that's when they had to put on clothes, because they became aware, right? They were no longer fresh. As I stated, there's translations that state that they were created in purity and they had on garbs of pure white. They did not get dirty. It was only after they transgressed, their bodies were no longer pure. So that's when they became naked. And when they noticed they no longer had on garbs of white to show their purity, and they were truly naked in flesh, that's when they ran and understood, okay, now I am ashamed because, okay, I'm no longer pure, right? So there was an actual moment where they did not realize that they were naked after they transgressed, right? And it was only after the Most High was walking around and they realized, wait a second, I'm no longer garbed in purity. I am naked now. Let me hide myself. So this is why the Most High said, "Why are you hiding?" You get what I'm saying? Even though he already understood, he just wanted them to be honest and say, "Well, this is why." And I also wanted to point out the fact that when the Most High created Eve, he took Adam's rib from the rib that's closest to the actual heart, you could say, right? So that's actually significant in understanding that woman actually came from the emotions and the actual physical body of Adam, the first man. So women are literally an extension of men. And this is why it says that when a man gets married to his wife or his Asha, he is to cleave to her, right? Becoming one flesh, not just in the body, but also in the spirit. So I'm going to end it with that right there. I love y'all. Again, we are family, especially if you walk in the truth of the Most High.